Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to another video on Starseed Academy. My name is Jenny. So happy to have you back here. We are jumping back into interviewing interdimensional beings in the Meet the Cosmos series. I just wanted to say that your requests were incredible. So I went back and I looked at the first video where I interviewed the Galactic Federation of Light and the Lemurian video, and I wrote down all of your different requests so that I could have ideas for videos coming up in this series, and they were fantastic. Your comments, everything. Thank you all so much. I also got some other kinds of comments, which is what inspired last week's video, The Dangers of Channeling. If you haven't watched that video yet, I really, really recommend it. If you send me a DM or a comment about, how I'm going to be damned or going to hell or anything like that, I'll just send you a link to that video so that you can rest assured that I know exactly what I'm getting myself into. I know how to set up the protective sacred space, and I know how to powerfully use intentions, discernment, and high vibrations really to remove access of anything that's lower without your interests, your best interests at heart. So there's really no need, but thank you for your concern. And if you haven't watched that video yet, there's actually so much amazing information in there, especially if you do this work, especially if you're a spiritual entrepreneur, or you're just an awakening soul. You're going through this spiritual journey and you're learning how to meditate, how to receive downloads down in through the crown chakra. And it's such an important video for that. So please, if you haven't watched it yet, go and check that out, because there's so many tips and tricks and really interesting points that maybe you haven't thought of when it comes to channeling and psychic gifts in general. Okay, so awesome. So this week we're going to be talking to the Galactic Federation of Light again. So I just wanted to continue that first video before I move on to all of these other amazing worlds and star nations that we're going to be covering, because that got the most response for requests. So that's how important your requests are. Make sure that you're asking for what you want. More people were asking, can we ask the Galactic Federation of Light this question and that question? So that's why I'm doing another one. It actually sparked me to create a spin-off series. Sounds like TV, but a spin-off playlist, I guess, called Ask the GFL. So I'm going to continue doing these videos called Ask the GFL. So I'm going to take your questions, and when I have enough, I'll do another video and we'll ask them these questions together and get the answers. So for now, this is going to be the second video in that series, Ask the GFL. I'll do the first one in there, this one, and then I'm going to continue doing them in the future, as well as the Meet the Cosmos. Okay, so your requests are super important. I want you to really let me know what kinds of videos you want to see, what makes you want to come back to this channel and watch those videos, what kind of questions you need answers to. What are your burning questions for the Galactic Federation of Light? What ancient civilizations or galactic civilizations is there no information out there about and you can't find anything? Maybe you feel like you have a lifetime there. I don't mind going I actually love going off of the mainstream into all of these different niches and pockets of information that's not showing up anywhere else. So anyway, so we're gonna start this video now, but before we jump into the questions that you had for the GFL, I just want to remind you to please like this video, give it a thumbs up, share this video, and then comment below, of course, for more questions to ask them, and I'll be checking out the comments and doing the next video in a couple of weeks probably. And then and subscribe obviously to this channel for new videos every single Sunday. Okay, so the first question that we have for the GFL, so settle in, here we go. The first question was, are they in 3D? Is there any version of them at all that's in the third dimension? And the answer that they gave me was that they are in every dimension. They're in each dimension equally. And then they gave me some extra information about that, letting me know that the ship that I go to visit recently, if you're on my email list, you'll know the last place that I went was new for me. It was actually a moon base, whereas normally I go to their main headquarters ship. This time when I asked for the Council for Humanity, they had actually been shifted to an observation station, I guess, on the moon, which is what the moon is, just in case you didn't know. It's an observation station. So the ship that I went to, they let me know that was actually 60 physical ship. Like it was physical. It's in the sixth dimension. You know, it exists there. And that's where the Council for Humanity currently is residing, on this moon base, observing Earth. So who in the third dimension then, since that's the dimension that we're in, who in the third dimension, or what in the third dimension, or where in the third dimension are the Galactic Federation of Light? Like, who represents them? Where are they? And they said the ground crew, which is us, each one of us. You probably have like lifetimes where you served in the Galactic Federation of Light, maybe parallel lifetimes we would continue to serve there. I know that I've definitely served there. I have family that serves there, like my Orion family serves there on the Orion Council of Light. If you don't know what the Galactic Federation of Light is or why you would serve them, watch the first video, the first interview with them, because that was the questions that we were answering in the first video. So just click on the playlist that this is in, Ask the GFL, go to the very first video, and then you'll be able to see what are they, what do they do, why do they exist, how do they help. All of that got answered already. So who are they in 3D? Well, us, the ground crew, is what we're called, the awakening souls that actually still work for the Galactic Federation of Light. In these current incarnations, we are doing the light work that they're also doing. Like, we're all working together. So you're actually probably already a part of a council or multiple councils under that umbrella of the GFL. And then also they mentioned Inner Earth. I know Inner Earth is a big mystery. I do have a video on Inner Earth that you can find here on this channel. But there's a lot in Inner Earth that are like ancient civilizations, but there's also like galactic influence down there as well. So they let me know that they also had like people in Inner Earth that worked for them. So on the surface, it's the ground crew, which is you and I and all the other awakening souls. And deep within the core, the center of the Earth, in Inner Earth, they also have influence there. Okay, so the next question was, are there different versions of Earth that are liberated versus not liberated? And the answer that they gave was, every possibility exists. So then they quickly showed me how our frequency tunes us into the world that we live in. And like a radio station, you tune into the frequency that you want to experience. And so on Earth, we can be living alongside people in completely different realities. Like, I know for myself, I have people that are close to me in my life. They live in a whole different world than I do. You know, they live really governed by like the news and the media and the fear. Not as bad as they used to, but still they live in a whole other world than what I live in. I live in this like world filled with galactic influences, ancestral influences, light influences, magic. Magic is real in my world, and it is. So it's just interesting to know that, you know, the reality that you live in is determined by your own frequency, beliefs, and perceptions, because you create the reality that you live in. And each person is creating their own reality. And so your next door neighbor lives in a whole other world than you do. That being said, there is still such a thing as the collective consciousness and the main timeline. Okay, so yes, I can live in a whole other different reality than my neighbor, but let's be grounded about this and like real and down to earth about this. That doesn't mean that I live on a different planet than them. Okay, so the collective consciousness of humanity is the majority. Okay, the majority of the consciousness. And that is what rules or dictates the main timeline. Yes, you can live on your own personal timeline, like an offshoot timeline, a higher timeline, highest timeline. But the main collective lives on their own, or not lives on, the collective consciousness of humanity creates, and lives on the main timeline. What is the main timeline? Like the main events of Earth. Not what the news is saying, because the news still picks and chooses what they want to show, but the actual main events that are happening on Earth that might not be publicized. Okay, so like, big events, global events like wars and natural disasters, and like community and people coming together and oneness and peaceful protests and you know, like just the main global events that affect us all. that is a world that everyone lives on, regardless of whether you're like creating your own smaller offshoot timeline of reality. You still are connected to the main timeline. So anyway, I just wanted to, the collective, so the Galactic Federation of Light just really wanted us to understand that even while we're here on Earth, even if the main timeline's looking kind of like shit, we can still create our own higher timeline and live there. However, you're still going to be on the same planet with the main timeline. So I hope that that makes sense. So the collective consciousness determines a main timeline that sets the parameters. So it's like a video game. Like there are certain parameters that exist on all levels. So we're still having to live within the parameters of the main timeline. Okay, so what that means is, so I know that some people have this fear. What that means is that your friends and family will not just disappear one day. Okay, you're not just going to float up to some other Earth and leave people behind. There's so many misconceptions about what 5D is. People think they're actually going to ascend out of their bodies or off this world onto some other world, and then they leave their family and friends behind, and they're worried about that and they're sad about that. That's not a very grounded like sense of spirituality. Like that is not, we're not here to leave. We're here to help, right? We're the ground crew. We're not going anywhere. We're trying to affect the collective consciousness so much that we change the main timeline. How do we do that? We infuse it with light. We help others to awaken. We help others to become empowered to the fact that they are the creators of their own timelines. And if enough people are creating their own timelines, that becomes the main timeline. Okay, so it's a percentage of awakening and light and balance here on the planet. So yes, the answer to the question is yes, there are different versions of Earth that are liberated versus not. Absolutely. Absolutely. Everything that can exist does exist on a parallel timeline somewhere. However, we should focus on the one that we're in because we're here for a reason. And so we want to focus on how can we influence with light and balance the main timeline, the collective consciousness of humanity. So that's the work, that's the light work that we do. Okay, the next question is there light in the lowest dimensions, and where? Like, is there still light? Like, if hell exists, like way, way, way down in the lowest dimensions that you can go, is there even light there at all, or is it all darkness? So the answer from the Galactic Federation was, there is light and dark in every cell or spark of being. So that's literally like every particle of existence, energy, life force, you, any kind of style of being, astral, dark entity, light beings, angelic, we all are made up of energy particles. And they're saying there is light and dark in every cell or spark of being. It naturally exists in balance in all things. Expression and free will create the experience of activating or making dormant one or the other in measure. So that was a mouthful. So let me just say that again. So there is light and dark in every cell or spark of being. It naturally exists in balance in all things. And then expression and free will are what create the fluctuations, the experience of either activating or making dormant one or the other, the dark or the light, to create personality or individuality. And this is not a bad thing, right? So to have a personality or to be an individual, you would have to activate or set dormant, like play in the ideas of light and dark. Because if everybody was just in complete perfect balance between light and dark, there wouldn't be any individuals or personality, is what they're saying here. So there's light and dark in your very cells, and then your personality, your freedom, your expression, your free will, your individuality, your choices in your life, everything that gives you free will is what determines how that fluctuates, how you on the scale move light and dark around in your body, in your experience, in your personality. So that's a really interesting answer to, is there light in the lower dimensions and where? So the answer then is obviously yes, there's equal amounts of light and dark. Some of it is dormant, some of it is more highly active due to that being's or that reality's choice of expression and free will and what it's choosing to create and show up as. So that's really interesting, because then when you put that belief or that that information against what's going on Earth here, then that means that all of the light that we need is already on the planet. We're just activating it. And that really feels true, right? We're just helping people to move out of their fear, which is them having, a lot of their light dormant and a lot of their darkness active, and they're living in fear. So we're helping to try to activate their light so that they can feel balanced again and find themselves again in their own free will expression. And of course, we know here as light workers, that there is a lot of overarching manipulation to keep people in fear and in separation and in anger. And that's that darkness being in the higher active, in your body, more active. So very, very interesting. Okay, so the light and the darkness, all of it exists equally. It's just what's activated, what's not, what's being used, where's your focus and your attention going, and where is it not, right? Makes a lot of sense. Okay, moving on. The next question is, are spirit guides real in 3D? And the answer was yes. A pet, a friend, a tree, all may be guides for you here. So just depending on what you resonate with. A stranger can just say something that really touches your heart. I've had that happen. People come out of nowhere sometimes with messages. It's like, whoa, was that an angel? But they're then that's a guide, right? That's a guide to you. All kinds of different guides exist here in the third dimension. Butterflies are guides for me a lot of the time. I mean, I get signs all the time through nature, insects, coincidences, numbers, color, people, trees, pets, everything that they said. So I think that's really cool. Okay, just flipping the page here to the next question. The next question was, is time travel possible? And the answer was, there is no time, only variation and choice. You can visit or incarnate in any variation of life or worlds that you desire. Okay, so there is no time, only variation and choice. So that's when we said earlier, every possibility exists on some timeline somewhere. So you wouldn't necessarily going back in time, you would be finding the timeline where that outcome existed. So for instance, I know souls that are currently incarnated in a time of Atlantis. That's beautiful. And there was no downfall. I actually, I had an experience, I just remembered. I can't even remember. I've done so many events lately, but I did an event where we were calling on a version of ourselves to come forward with a message. And it was a parallel version of me that was it was a child, actually. She was young, but she was in Atlantis. And it was actually, she was on Earth, on Earth, just another timeline of Earth. But on that version of Earth, Atlantis didn't fall. And it slowly evolved into modern civilization like what we have now. Very interesting to see the differences between that world and our world, what they had and what we didn't have. It was super, super cool. And she was really open about the details. So if you want to experience stuff like that, I'm telling you, I know I say it all the time, join the membership. Okay, so where was I? Okay, yes, so there is no time, just variations of different outcomes of the world, many worlds, any world. And you can visit them or incarnate, which means have a lifetime, in any one of those variations of life or worlds that you desire. The unlimited experience of life is infinite and expanding. So that's amazing. These variations continue to expand and expand and expand. There is so much to the multiverse that we could never learn it all. We could never see it all. I mean, you could never have all the lifetimes, right? So I think that's why I think also this is why people feel really conflicted when they're like, well, I downloaded this channeled message about Atlantis. And it's like, no, I downloaded this one. Well, it's like, well, what timeline? Because that's how many timelines of Earth, Atlantis, Lemuria, all of the different ones that they are. So really the way to anchor yourself into information that would actually matter to you is, what lifetimes did I personally have? So tell me about that version of Atlantis, because I was there. And then why does that matter? Because then you probably have those soul gifts or potentially wounds from that life that need healing, or like archetypes or themes that are coming up for you again. You don't need to know about the millions of versions of Atlantis. You just need to know about your Atlantis, right? So does that describe or explain a little bit about why people get different things? Okay, so that was about time travel. The next question is, what tech is being held back from us now? Like, on this version of Earth. And they said, in your world, so very much. I felt like they were like, oh, where do we begin? Already in existence is free, clean energy, healing apparatuses based on frequency shifting, personal flight ships. I don't know what that is, like a personal spaceship or a hover board, maybe. Holographic avatar realities that are interactive. Let me just say that again. Holographic avatar realities that are interactive. So like you could just go to visit your friend's house as a holographic version of yourself, but still fully interactively have that experience and still be sitting at home. That's already here on Earth. Like, what? Did we know that? I didn't know that. Cloning. I've seen a lot of theories about that. Definitely it's here. Stargates. That's pretty interesting. That'd be like portals, you know, to travel into other galaxies. I don't know. Stargates. Global broadcast systems. Interesting. I kind of need to know more about that too, because when they said global broadcast systems, I saw like a vision of like this little Earth just being like wave after wave of these global broadcasts that maybe you can't see and hear, but are still affecting us, right? And these are probably, a lot of this feels like what the active dark energies are using to try to like suppress the activation of more light, and so much more. They said not in existence yet. Okay, so that was what was already in existence on Earth. And more, they said more. But anyway, they can't list it all, right? But if you have a specific question, just ask. Not in existence are stifled high vibrational ideas and inventions waiting to be downloaded once the fog lifts. That's what they said. So it's almost like we have this like fear fog, fear frequency acting as like a suppressant or a fog or a blanket over humanity. And it does block out those high vibe inventions and ideas and all of that. It doesn't have to affect you, but it is affecting the majority of the people. So then, of course, we're missing out on all of their brilliant inventions and ideas. Okay, awesome. All right, so the next question is, what's the progress right now of the balance of light to dark on Earth? Like, how are we doing with this? And they said the highest in many thousands of years. The light grows faster and faster. The quickening began in your year 2020 and will continue for roughly 200 years. So now I'm going to, after this video, maybe for the next video, I really want to look up some of the stuff that's come in here and go deeper. Like, what is the quickening? I feel like that might be a whole video on its own about, again, about the progress of the spiritual warfare on Earth right now. And they're talking about how we've entered into the quickening and will be there for 200 years. And that's the quickening of the activation and the light waves happening, the waves of activation and awakening happening on Earth. Very, very interesting. And then they just continued that by saying the darkness on Earth continues to get louder, but not larger. So they're just getting really loud. Okay, they're just pissed and they're loud, but it's not actually growing. The light is growing. So that's amazing. And remember, regardless of what you see on mainstream anything, news, internet, socials, it's not being publicized, right? The revolution will never be publicized. So you have to look for it. And if anybody wants to share in the comments below, you know, your sources, you know, your trusted sources for doing just that, you know, looking for the truth, the true news, if we could call it that, please feel free to share them. YouTube doesn't allow links to be shared, so just share, like, you know, if it's a YouTube page, the name of it or whatever, or just the description, and then we can go and find it. Okay. If you are looking for a weekly energy report from me. If you've heard me talk about that or haven't heard me talk about it, I'm sending them out now every single Monday. So definitely sign up below for that as well. This is also free. So the event is free tomorrow. Every single Monday, I send out a free energy report. It goes out into your email box and it gives people like a heads up on what energy they can expect that week. And I have been so blown away by what's come through for like visions, channeled messages, prophetic things, like, and then responses from people have just been so overwhelming, that that's exactly how they're feeling, or then what actually ends up happening for them that week. So it's really, really on point. So sign up for the energy reports from me as well. Okay, last question. Last question is, how can we help? Which is a beautiful question. And their answer was soul gifts, right? I talk about soul gifts all the time. Earth mission, expansion of your own light and balance, because don't forget, you are equal measures of light and dark. So expanding your own light and then the balance, and astral missions. Okay, so to unpack some of that, soul gifts are gifts that you carry within your soul from, all of your various lifetimes, and you can awaken and activate those soul gifts to use them here and now. Earth mission is different than soul purpose. Earth mission is about the planet that you're on. Soul purpose is all about, like, what are you receiving from being here? Okay, well, I'm receiving the healing of multiple lifetimes, balancing of karma, expansion in my soul. What are you giving? That's the earth mission. Okay, so usually when you incarnate, you have both what you're giving and receiving to be balanced. What you're giving is, what's your earth mission? It usually involves your soul gifts, but what is it? Mine is to support star seeds. Is yours to support children, women, animals, nature? Like what? Heal what, right? So figure that out, and I can help you with that, of course. One-on-one sessions, the membership, my many courses. So just look on the link in the description if you want help with figuring out what your soul gifts or your earth mission are. Probably the breakthrough reading would be like ideal for that. And then they said expansion of your own light and balance, and then astral missions. Astral missions are something that I do personally alone and as a group. I take my membership like as a group on astral missions, and then personally I go alone on astral missions too often, especially like right before I fall asleep. I'll volunteer to be of service. You always want to be calling in Archangel Michael to watch over your body. And also take your soul, like go with your soul to whatever mission that is. Escort was the word I was looking for. So he watches your body. He's multidimensional. He can be in many places at once. He stays behind with the body. Plus he escorts like a bodyguard your soul to wherever you're going. So just set up that sacred space and protection. But then, yes, feel free to volunteer for missions, and you can do that by praying to God Source, speaking to the Galactic Federation of Light, speaking to the Council for Humanity, speaking to your higher self, speaking to your team of guides, spirit guides, ancestors, councils, and just say, okay, send me in, like, I'm ready. Tonight I want to go on a mission. I want to be of service. And make sure that you are truly ready. You're feeling emotionally balanced. You're feeling rested. You're not sick. You're not drained. You're not overwhelmed. Don't do it then, because you're just going to drain yourself. And then the last message here for how can we help, the answer from the Galactic Federation of Light was healing through love. So healing through love, yourself, humanity, nature, and the animals. So always sending love and healing, and acting in that way. Like if you want to heal nature, you're not going to go out and throw out a bunch of garbage on in a park or on the road. Even you would be more likely to go pick it up. So just like walk your talk, so and with animals too, like how can you adopt a more compassionate diet, whether that means becoming a vegetarian or a vegan, or just taking in, being more careful about the sources of where your food is coming from and making sure everything is humane. And that's animals and nature. And then humanity, I mean, you could just, I've said before on this channel, you can choose a place on Earth. You can even use a map and focus on it and send so much love and peace and energy and healing there. You can do it for yourself. You can do it for loved ones. You can do it distance. You don't have to be in the room with them. So just continue doing your light work, basically all the beautiful things that you're already doing. So that's the end of this Ask the GFL. Please pop your questions in the comments, and when I have enough, I will do a third video on Ask the GFL, and let me know, what do you want to know? And then we'll also be jumping back into the Meet the Cosmos, and I've got a bunch of people asking, if you're curious, hold on one sec. If you're curious, I can tell you so far what's been requested is the Mayans, ancient Egypt, Venusians, Lyrans, Mintaka, Sirius, Arcturians, our own ocean, is there galactic beings in our own ocean, Orion, mantis beings, greys, reptilians, dragons, unicorns, and fae. So there's so many amazing requests. If you just heard something that you also want, you should still request it, because I'm trying to go with like what you want first by majority. You know, that just seems fair. So how many people asked for this one? How many people asked for that one? Because otherwise it's like, where do I start? So if I said it and you want it, tell me again. You know, the more times I see, like for instance, mantis, then I know, okay, that's the next one. Okay, so please send your requests. Please remember that, you know, I am still taking one-on-one sessions right now. So that's in the links below: readings, healings, activations, all kinds of stuff. But I've also got this beautiful membership where we do all of this kinds of work. It's something where we get together every single week over Zoom, we chat, we have experiences, healing, activations, journeys, and more, soul retrievals, group readings, inner child work, meeting. We've gone to Venus, we've gone to Orion, we've gone to Andromeda. I mean, there's probably a lot. We've gone to ancient Egypt. We've gone to a lot of places. So like if you're interested in seeing these and learning how to astral project and travel and use your psychic gifts, you know, join the membership. You don't have to understand it now. You can be a beginner. Many people, so many people that started out as beginners feeling like they couldn't see, they didn't know this, they couldn't astral travel. And I've helped them so much to like become what I would consider advanced, honestly, and in less than a year. So it's been, I mean, that's how long the membership's going. They certainly didn't take that long to advance within themselves with their gifts. But I mean, all of this I've already experienced in this membership many times over. So join the membership. If you want to work with me, the links are below. Oh, last thing, I have this incredible event coming up tomorrow, actually Monday, which is the Lionsgate portal. So it's at 8/8, which is August 8th, at 8 p.m. Eastern. This is the Breaking Through to Abundance event. I just noticed that a lot of starseeds lightworkers struggle with money. You know, they feel like guilty for wanting it, or that they shouldn't want it, or that it's not spiritual. And as a result, many of them struggle to make ends meet. They can do all kinds of beautiful spiritual advanced things, yet they can't bring in a manifestation of money. So I really want to help people with that. We're going to break through those beliefs. We're going to be working with your ancestors. We're going to be working with intentions, sending them out through the many different dimensions. It's going to be really powerful, and I hope that you can make it. Other than that, thank you so much. I love you. And always remember, listen to your heart and the quiet voice within, because you are so much more than the body you are in. I love you, beautiful starseeds. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful day. Bye.